Welcome back to Forkcast. This is Hacker News Show number 1, 32 open source projects that have recently been trending on Hacker News. Let's get into it. Every framework, every runtime, every abstraction layer burns CPU cycles between the network card and your response bytes. ymawky is a macOS web server written entirely in ARM64 assembly AO. No C runtime, no standard library, just direct syscalls on Apple Silicon. It talks to the kernel through the Mac microkernel interface with handwritten send and recv loops. The entire binary is a single executable with zero dependencies, a web server stripped down to raw silicon. You love Clojure's REPL and macros. You hate the 5 seconds of JVM startup before your code even runs. Letgo is a Clojure-like language in Go that boots in 7 milliseconds and compiles to a 13.5 megabyte native binary. You get S expressions, macros, persistent data structures, and a rep backed by Go's goroutines and standard library at zero interop cost. Peak memory sits at 92 megabytes, Lisp, recompiled for the age of instant startup. You want Lisp's code as data metaprogramming. You also want Rust's borrow checker catching your memory bugs at compile time. These two worlds have never overlapped until now. Rust. But Lisp compiles S expressions through Rust's type system into native machine code. You write Lisp, the compiler emits safe Rust with full trait and lifetime checking, macros, homoiconicity, and fearless concurrency in one language, Lisp at the speed of Rust. Gaussian splatting is the hottest technique in 3D reconstruction, but generating a splat usually means downloading a 2.4 gigabyte model and praying your GPU has enough VRAM. ML Sharp Web runs Apple's Sharp model entirely in your browser using ONNX runtime web with web GPU acceleration. You drag in photos and get a full 3D Gaussian splat client-side AO, no server upload, no cloud GPU costs, no Python environment. 3D reconstruction becomes a browser tab. Modern Rust gives you safety but buries you under dependency graphs and multi-gigabyte target directories. Trust is a Rust compiler toolchain that codes like it's 1989, single binary. No cargo, no dependency resolver, a stripped-down standard library targeting bare metal and minimal systems. You write Rust with all its safety guarantees, AO, ownership, borrowing, pattern matching, AO. But the toolchain has the footprint of Turbo C, builds complete in under a second, Rust with the soul of a Borland-ide. Your AI coding agent can refactor a code base, but it can't touch the fader on your bass track. Music production has been completely walled off from programmatic control until now. Ableton-live-mcp exposes Live's control surface through the Model Context Protocol, giving AI agents access to 96% of Live's API. Your agent can create MIDI tracks, adjust send levels, trigger clips, and arrange scenes through structured commands. Your coding agent just learned to produce. You let an AI agent loose on your codebase, it makes 47 changes across 23 files, and half of them broke something. There's no Git history for those edits, just a massive working tree diff and regret. Regent is version control designed for AI coding agents. Every edit is tracked as an atomic reversible commit. Agents can branch, explore alternatives, and merge the best one. You can rewind any session to any point in edit history. The undo button AI coding has been missing. Your AI agent can write code and browse the web, but ask it to click a button in Photoshop or fill out an expense report, and it's completely blind. Agent Desktop gives AI agents eyes and hands for native desktop applications. It reads the OS accessibility tree of any running app and exposes 54 commands for clicking, typing, reading UI state, and navigating Windows AO, all returning structured JSON. No per-app integrations needed. Works across Mac OS, Windows, and Linux. Your agent goes from terminal to controlling every app on your desktop. You need full-text search in your PHP app. Your options: install Elasticsearch, provision Melee Search, or write a SQL-like query and pretend it's good enough. php-fts is a full-text search engine in pure PHP, AO. No extensions, no C bindings, no separate service. It tokenizes, indexes, and ranks documents using BM25 scoring with configurable stemming and stop word removal. The entire thing lives in a single file. Queries return ranked results in milliseconds on tens of thousands of documents. Search infrastructure reduced to a library call. You type mount, TNFs, and get back a cryptic permission denied error with no explanation. Now you're grepping RPC logs, checking export Fs, and running RPC info on both client and server, hoping something jumps out. nfsdiag automates the entire NFS troubleshooting workflow in a single pass. It checks RPC port binding, verifies export permissions, tests firewall rules, validates NFS version negotiation, and inspects mount options OU, all with clear pass or fail output for every step. The 20-minute NFS debugging ritual becomes a single command. Everybody is shipping agent skills right now, but nobody can tell you whether a skill actually makes the agent better or just adds token overhead. Agent-skills-eval measures exactly that. It runs identical tasks with and without a specific skill loaded, then compares completion rates, output quality, and token efficiency. The scoring is fully deterministic AI. Same input, same evaluation, every time. You get a hard number. This skill improves performance by 15% or makes it 8% worse, benchmarking rigor for the wild west of agent extensions. rsk-ev is the most exciting open instruction set architecture in decades. But learning it usually means buying an expensive dev board or staring at simulator traces that crawl at 1 instruction per second. rvcore is a full RISC-V emulator built from scratch in C++ that runs Doom at playable frame rates. It implements the RV32 iMac instruction set plus an MMU, UART, and interrupt controller AU, all in software. No FPGA, no special hardware. The fastest way to understand exactly how a RISC-V processor executes every instruction. You just ran an AI agent on a feature branch, and now you're staring at a 400-line diff, trying to figure out what changed and why. Terminal diffs weren't designed for reviewing AI-generated code, AO. They're flat, they're dense, and they tell you nothing about intent. Stage-cli breaks AI-generated changes into sequential chapters, each a focused edit with the context of what the agent was trying to accomplish. You walk through changes like reading a story instead of decoding a wall of plus and minus signs. Works with any AI agent's output. One AI reviewer is good, but every model has blind spots. The thing Claude misses, Codex catches, and vice versa. Adamsreview runs your code through multiple AI review lenses in parallel. A deep review pass, an auto-fix loop that attempts to resolve the issues it finds, and an interactive walkthrough mode. You can even inject findings from external review tools. It's a code review pipeline that cross-references multiple AI perspectives before a human ever looks at the PR. Belt and suspenders for AI-generated code. You need a workflow engine that survives crashes and guarantees your multi-step process completes exactly once. But Temporal and Cadence need their own cluster, their own database, and a dedicated team. Orc is a durable workflow engine in a single Rust binary. Point it at Postgres or SQLite and you're done. It guarantees exactly once execution through server restarts and network partitions, checkpointing after every step. A workflow halfway through step 5 of 12 when the power went out picks up exactly where it left off. No zookeeper, no external coordinator, no infrastructure tax. Kubernetes troubleshooting is a game of context switching AO, jumping from kubectl describe to kubectl logs to the metrics dashboard to the event stream, assembling a diagnosis from fragments. Stack bundles all of that into a Claude Code skill pack that gives an AI agent unified access to every K8's resource in your cluster. One command triggers structured health checks across deployments, pods, services, and events. Log aggregation pulls from every pod matching a selector. Your agent correlates crash loops with resource limits and tells you exactly which container is throttling. Your production logs are full of secrets. API keys, session tokens, email addresses, streaming into your observability pipeline where they sit indexed and searchable forever. You can't rewrite every application to scrub its logs, and regex filters either miss everything or destroy your JSON. pii-shield is a zero-code Kubernetes sidecar that sits between your container and stdout. It detects secrets using entropy analysis at over 100,000 lines per second and deterministically hashes every detected secret while preserving log structure. Your logs are clean before they leave the pod. Every Rust application with a UI eventually needs undo and redo, and every developer discovers the same painful truth. Retrofitting undo means writing bespoke reverse operations for every mutation in your system. Undo-redo provides 3 undo strategies out of the box: AU, sparse deltas, full snapshots, and the command pattern. It ships with built-in implementations for hashmap, hashset, vec, btreemap, and btreeset, plus a derived macro that auto-generates delta types for your custom structs. Works in no/std with 0 mandatory dependencies. You add undo to your app by adding a single attribute. The macOS music player landscape is bleak AU, bloated streaming services that want your subscription, or abandonware from 2005. Lightcrime Audio Player is a native macOS music player with the soul of Winamp and the polish of a modern Swift app. 7 audio visualizers including Spectrum Bars, Waveform Scope, Beat Tunnel, and Starfield. It plays MP3, FLAC, AAC, WAV, AIFF, and extracts audio, BOSO, from video files. Fisher-Yates Shuffle, hardware media key support, now playing integration, lives in your menu bar and gets out of your way. You've got a folder full of markdown files with to-do lists, notes, and project plans. You want a Kanban board, but you don't want to sign up for yet another SaaS tool or spin up a database. Kanban-cli gives you a web UI for your local markdown Kanban files. One command, one line in your terminal. Your data stays exactly where it is. In plain markdown files, you can edit with any text editor. No cloud, no sync conflicts, no vendor lock-in. Just your notes, rendered as a beautiful drag-and-drop board. You're curious what happens when an LLM can rewire its own execution graph at runtime AO. But you don't want a 500 megabyte Python framework to find out. Liteflow is a 1,000-line C program where an LLM edits a DAG mid-run using a 4-verb grammar. Every edit is an auditable event. No hidden state, no black box scheduler. The entire system fits in a single C file you can read in an afternoon. It's the smallest possible experiment in self-modifying AI workflows, transparent, auditable, and comprehensible from top to bottom. Right now, you're probably running Elasticsearch for full text search and ClickHouse for analytics AAU. 2 clusters, 2 query languages, 2 ingestion pipelines, and a constant battle to keep them in sync. SerenedB is a distributed real-time search analytics database that does both in one system with a Postgres-compatible interface. Its IR research engine claims to outperform Lucene across every query type. You get BM25 full-text search, columnar analytics, vector search for AI embeddings, and hybrid ranking AU, all through SQL. What you'd get if Postgres, Elasticsearch, and ClickHouse merged into a single C++ codebase. You start an AI coding agent on a complex refactor, close your MacBook lid to head to a meeting, and come back to find it died 30 seconds after you walked away. MacBooks sleep aggressively when the lid is closed. No system preferences setting can stop it. Modafinil is a menu bar app that keeps your MacBook running with the lid shut while letting the display turn off normally to save battery. It uses PMSet and Caffeinate under the hood, tested on Apple Silicon with macOS 13 and above. One click toggles it. Your agent keeps running between rooms. You built your SaaS with shady CN/UI. It was fast, it was clean AU. And then you realized it looks exactly like every other ShadCN app on the internet. Better Design is a collection of 27 themed component libraries: AU, Linear, Stripe, Vercel, Notion, Apple, Supabase, and 21 more AIQ, each with roughly 87 components from accordions to typography blocks. One npx command installs any component with all its CSS variables and dependencies resolved. Switch from the linear theme to the Stripe theme by changing a registry URL. A design system wardrobe for Shady CN AO. Change your look without changing your codebase. Android SSH clients fall into three categories: abandoned since 2017, riddled with ads, or functional but ugly. Chuchu is a native Android SSH client powered by libghosty AU, the same terminal emulator driving one of the fastest desktop terminals in existence. Over 400 themes from the Ghosty ecosystem, a Jetpack Compose UI, and support for password, key-based, and tail-scale SSH authentication. It handles the Kitty image protocol for inline images in the terminal. Full scrollback, modifier key pass-through, mouse action support. A terminal that treats your phone like a real computer. Claude's managed agents are great until you need them to run on your own infrastructure, behind your firewall, with your compliance rules. Platos is the open source answer, a self-hosted runtime for deploying, monitoring, and managing AI agents in production. It handles scheduling, state persistence, error recovery, and observability out of the box. You define what the agent should do. Platos handles where and how it runs. Deploy on your own servers, in your own VPC, under your own security policies. Managed agents without the vendor management. You remember the golden age of ANSI art? IEO. BBS welcome screens, cracktros, scene packs, OIO. But creating ASCII pixel art today means wrestling with tools that haven't been updated since the dial-up era. Perkins is an ASCII pixel art editor built for the terminal, written in Go. It gives you a full canvas, a color palette, and drawing tools AU, all rendered in your terminal emulator with true color support. Draw, shade, dither, and export without leaving the command line. It's Deluxe Paint reincarnated as a terminal application. NSE Art is back, and it runs in your tmux session. Discord's desktop app is an Electron wrapper consuming gigabytes of RAM for what's essentially a chat interface. You've got a perfectly good terminal right there. Ow! Why is Discord eating half your memory? Concord is a feature-rich Discord TUI client written in Rust. It runs in your terminal with full keyboard navigation, channel switching, message threading, and media previews AO, all at a fraction of the resource cost. No Electron, no Chromium, no RAM tax, just your communities, in your terminal where they belong. JavaScript runtimes have become massive OAU, Node.js, Bun, Deno AO. Each one a multi-megabyte install with a dependency tree that scrolls off the screen. Ant is a JavaScript runtime built from scratch in C that fits in 9 megabytes. It implements the core ECMAScript spec with a handwritten parser, garbage collector, and event loop. AEO, no V8, no WebKit, no legacy baggage. It's not trying to replace Node in production. It's a proof that a modern JS runtime doesn't need to be enormous. JavaScript stripped to its absolute essentials. You know the pain of opening a pull request with CAD changes. Instead of a clean diff showing what moved, you get a binary blob and a comment that says, adjusted the flange by 2 mm, trust me. DiffCAD is a free CAD workbench that lets you review 3D model changes like code diffs. It renders both versions side by side with the differences highlighted OO, exactly like a Git diff for solid geometry. Rotate, zoom, and inspect every changed face, edge, and dimension. Mechanical engineers finally get the code review experience software developers have had for decades. You're about to let an AI agent run arbitrary shell commands on your machine. That little voice in your head asking, what's the worst that could happen? Ow. Listen to it. Agent-sanbox runs AI coding agents inside isolated Docker containers. The agent sees a full Linux environment, can install packages, write files, and execute code AO, but it can't touch your host file system, your SSH keys, or your browser cookies. When the agent finishes, the container is destroyed. Give your AI agents root access AU, just not on your actual machine. You're in the zone, coding deep, and your magic trackpad dies mid-gesture. You had no idea the battery was at 2% because macOS buries Bluetooth battery levels 3 menus deep. Mac Juice Monitor puts every Bluetooth device's battery level right in your menu bar. Keyboard, trackpad, mouse, AirPods, all visible at a glance. It polls your connected Apple peripherals and displays their charge levels as clean percentage icons. No clicks, no digging through system settings. Your devices die less often when you can actually see their battery levels. That's all 32 projects featured in Hacker News Show number 1. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel.